welcome back to Kiesel News. We have a lot to cover today. Today was a pretty huge news day overall. So first off, we have updates on Rooster Teeth. Now I'm sure a lot of you are aware that Rooster Teeth is unfortunately shutting down. I believe their last day is May 7th, which is when RBB Restoration is releasing. But good news for them, their podcast network, The Roost, has been officially picked up. Now, this doesn't mean anything for Rooster Teeth's actual podcast, like Fuckface or the Rooster Teeth podcast, but it means something for all of them that are under the Roost branding, such as H3H3's podcast, Philip DeFranco, Smosh, even though Smosh said that they're an exception to the rule and they have other plans. It's people that Rooster Teeth is affiliated with and podcasts that they're affiliated with, but not their direct podcast, if that makes sense. I should also clarify that I've seen people say that Mr. Beast bought the Roost, but no, it's just the talent management company that's responsible for him. So it'd be like if I worked for a company and they bought something and then I said that I bought it. No, it was the company that bought it, not me. All of the articles do still confirm that Warner Bros. Is also looking to sell the IP rights to RBB, Ruby. So there's a chance that Ruby gets picked up again. There's a chance that an RVB spin-off could happen. We'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we have news from a couple days ago that Apple is going to be allowing retro game emulators on the App Store. Now, I was excited by this as I was like, oh, maybe I can play like Pokemon Fire Red on my phone entirely legally, as that's what people were making it sound like. But it sounds like it has to be within the legal confines of companies. So basically, Nintendo could put out an official emulator on the App Store, and then I could play Fire Red. But Nintendo ain't gonna do that. But the bottom line is, it sounds like the emulators have to come directly from the source, so that basically crosses out every single emulator ever. Obviously, you can't blame Apple for this, because they're just complying with what all the companies want, but I think emulation can be good, especially for older games that are super hard to access. Like, it's not that I don't want to buy a copy of Pokemon Fire Red and play it, it's that I can't get a Game Boy for at a reasonable price, or really at all officially, so there's no way for me to play it. Next up, we have news that yet another original actor from the Daredevil series, aside from Foggy and Karen, is going to be returning, being Vanessa Fisk and her original actress. Now, it's a good thing that we're getting the original actress back, because if they're bringing back some original actors, I think they should bring back them all. But it does suck, because I was looking forward to seeing Sandrine Holt take on the role after her performance in Better Call Saul as Howard's wife. I haven't really seen her in anything else, so I wanted to see if she was more than a one-trick pony, and now I won't be able to see that with the Daredevil show. Next up, we have news that Sonic films are going to become Avengers-level events that'll be crossovers with different characters. I don't think anyone was expecting this. If you ask me, I was expecting Sonic 3 to be the last Sonic movie, at least of the main trilogy, and then, yeah, they would do spin-offs, but the fact that they're already planning for more Sonic movies beyond 3, and they're going to be like Avengers, bro, we're gonna get up to Sonic 20 at this rate. And we'll get like Eggman fart porn Disney Plus series. Like, I'm not super well versed on the Sonic lore. I only know really the main characters. Probably the most obscure character I know is Agate, and that's only from Sonic for Hire. But I'm really curious how far they're gonna go with the characters. Like, is it just Shadow and Knuckles, and then we're done, or what other characters are we talking? Next up, we have confirmation from the reliable Persona leaker Midori that the color for Persona 6 is indeed green, like the Persona 25th anniversary art initially teased. Now, green definitely does make sense, as it's one of the main colors that we haven't used yet, but I was honestly thinking the color would be black or white, especially since Persona 6 has been teased to be this huge new thing that's different in so many ways, with new staff working on it. I think drifting away from the traditional colors into shades would have been a good way to signify that. Also, when I think of green, the first thing that comes to my mind is earth and nature. So maybe a theme of Persona 6 will be about preserving the natural world as it changes, maybe. Especially with everything relating to AI going on in our world in the moment. And Persona 5 Strikers even focusing on AI with introducing Sophia. I feel like taking it one step further with Persona 6, dealing with technological versus traditional, would be a good theme. Green could also symbolize rebirth and renewal as well, which would fit Persona 6 being this new beginning. Also, side note, I know that we haven't used green yet, but I do think of Persona 3's color as primarily green sometimes, even though it's blue, just because of how prevalent green is throughout the game with Tartarus and the Dark Hour. So I just find it funny how the main color is blue in Persona 3, even though it should be green. Next up, there's a new movie called Megalopolis that was going to star Giancarlo Esposito and Adam Driver, and it sounded like it actually had a unique plot dealing with what to do after a massive disaster, essentially, and whether to turn the city into a utopia or just rebuild it how it was. But of course, since studios just love remakes and reboots now, this movie is being claimed as too experimental to spend the amount of money that the director wants on it. Too experimental, really. That's what movies need nowadays, is to be experimental, to be daring. That's gonna be what gets me in the seat, especially for a theater movie experience. The only time I go to a theater is when a movie's an event. And I was genuinely considering going to this when I first heard about it. So they would for sure make their 100 million back, I would assume. It probably wouldn't make much more than that, but they would make their money back, that's for sure. Who knows, maybe this is all just a ploy to get the movie to make more money when it does come out, as now everyone's going to be talking about how Hollywood hates original ideas again. That'll get Twitter all stormed up as usual, and then it'll result in more money when the movie does come out. I see your plan, studios. And as Megalopolis faces the issues that it's facing, Fallout Season 2 is very likely to happen. Yet another thing based on an already existing IP. Now, that's not to shit on the Fallout series. I mean, it hasn't even come out yet. It could be the best thing ever, and frankly, I think it looks pretty good. But it shows once again that if you're part of an IP, then you have a better chance at just surviving in the modern film landscape. I still feel like even then, it's still way too early for Fallout to get a season 2. I mean, last time that happened with a video game adaptation, look what happened to Halo. They gave it a Season 2 renewal right off the bat, and everybody hated Season 1. Sure, Season 2 was a bit better, but I don't think Halo needed to get renewed immediately. They should have waited for the response first. There is a bit else that happened today, such as the shutdown of the 3DS and Wii U online, as well as Jonathan Majors and an update on his whole situation, but we'll save him for tomorrow as this episode is getting pretty long. But before I go, I just want to say the solar eclipse was mid as fuck. I know they're cool because of how rare they are. I mean, we have to wait till 2044 for the next one, but really, I've experienced two in my lifetime, as there was just another one like 5, 6 years ago, so it doesn't really feel that special. Also, it's not like we're turning into werewolves or anything. You literally just don't look at the sun for a few minutes and then it's done. Also, the jokes are overused as hell. And when you have me saying that, you know they're overused.